Greetings, Commanders. I am back. We are back, I should say. And we're going for a quick game switch. Because, and I will be totally honest with you now, I was starting to feel a little bit queasy. I haven't used the Rift properly in a little while because I've been so busy these past few weeks. And playing it for that period of time then was making me feel a little bit sick.
Now that's interesting because you've said before you've gotten used to it.
Yeah, I was quite surprised myself then because I just dived into that thinking, yeah, great, let's start playing sort of thing like that. And I think when you do get used to it. Don't get me wrong, you do get used to it, but I think it's only if you continuously use it. You know what I mean? It seems that if you do take a break like I have, and then you don't play it for a while, it does seem to kind of you go back to your normal expectations and everything like that, and it really does feel like one of those things where you have to kind of keep breaking yourself in, keep staying up with it and everything, because as soon as you take a break from it, my word, that really did feel like the first couple of days I had it again. Then it was that kind of like whoa, sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, the newer one is a lot better. I think a lot of what I did there is because early on in the stream I started saying about where you move your head this way and this way, it makes you feel a bit queasy. Yeah, that was stupid. I probably shouldn't have done that. Demonstrating it to everyone is an instant way of making myself feel ill, which I did promptly. Never mind. You live and learn. There we go. Kerbal Space Program! A game which I have sunk a ridiculous amount of time into. And where did we get to? I think I just unlocked enough points to get the next thing on the tech tree. I think if that's where we were last time. Let's have a look at where we are now at the moment. Yes, we've got everything here leveled off, etc. So we've got 197 science points, and every single item on here is 160. So we'll go down the list and we'll see what we think is a good thing to go for. So the first one on the list here is the heavy rocketry. So we get the larger engine, the larger fuel tank, and we've got specialized controls. So we get a bigger command pod. We can fit 3 little Kerbals in. Some RCS controls, bigger parachute, and some extra control modules there. We get the specialized construction, so we can have 4 little Kerbals in there. A couple of different modules and some docking ports there. Docking ports I think are going to be really interesting. We can start building almost, we may be able to put a little space station in orbit if we use that. Then we've got the supersonic flight parts for that. Now, whilst I've had more success building an aircraft offline since the last time I streamed, but you remember the fun I was having with that. I don't think I'm going to do very well with that. We've also got the little micro rockets, which are really cool. We can make little landers and things. Not really any use for moving Kerbals around, but handy if you want to take a little remotely controlled drone or something away, and
right.
And doing some interesting science with that there. I just noticed my webcam is slightly in the way there. Can I move me? Come on, I've got to be able to move me one way or another. There we go. Right, move me out of the way. Yeah, so we got the little rockets there. We got the now this is actually quite interesting. The battery pack ones here, bigger battery packs, and these various array of solar panels. Now they are actually really, really useful. Because they can give us a heck of a lot of power, and that is really, really handy, especially when you're making long-term probes and things to go off.
Yeah.
Advanced exploration. We got the little barometer and some ladders. Ladders are always handy when you start making bigger craft. You've seen that. And the last thing we got in here is a more stronger landing strut and a bigger, more powerful parachute for landing.
Yeah, you've just moved your webcam down to the bottom corner.
Ah, yes, it's just caught up with the stream, is it?
You're gonna block out the
Oh, we
Kerbals.
can't go with the little Kerbals. Okay, let's put it in the
Also,
bottom
can
left.
you tilt your webcam down just slightly, because there's a big gap above your head and it's cutting off your chin.
I thought people would want to see the artwork. That's what it No, I was.
We can see the artwork. We can't see what it is.
Oh no, I can't zoom in. I got my my signed elite pictures there, and the other ones that Michael sent us. But no, I think the problem was then I was very stupidly I was leaning into the screen and trying to damage my eyesight, which is not a good thing. Don't do it at home, kids. There we go.
Webcam's jumping about the screen now.
Whee! There we go. Caught up with him actually. So I'll leave myself.
It's like whack-a-mole. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
So I'm tempted to go with the docking port stuff so that we can start making some interesting things and maybe take a module up to be used as a permanent habitat as a space station around Kerbal. I think that would be pretty cool. Yeah, I think that's probably the best thing to do.
I was thinking docking ports, but then you went and said solar panels.
Yeah, the solar panels are actually really, really handy. The very, very large ones, and the coolest thing about them is just the way they expand. They just look really awesome when they fold out, and you get all the stuff. Yeah, but yeah, I've still got the smaller solar panels. I think that can provide enough power to move these things. So I'm thinking docking ports probably actually would be pretty cool because
Okay then.
I could leave a couple of Kerbals up in orbit, and they can carry on gathering science for me. So let's go with docking ports. Oh, and let's see what we get in the future. So advanced metalworks. We're going to need 300 science for that level next. Oh my word! But that's going to give us the Clampatron Junior, the smaller docking ports, and the various separators. So that's pretty handy. Okay, so I will show you my my design I worked on. I think I saved it. Was it Jammy Dodger? I think that's what I did. We were working on this last time. No, that was the crazy one that I couldn't get to work. So no, loaded the same one again. But no, I did actually work offline on a different aircraft. Now I must have saved it in a separate thing. Maybe I called it something different. Ah, this might be it. This might be, yes. I think this was the one. So I'm going to go for a quick test flight with this one. But, and I think I need to drink. Because this ain't going to go well. But no, I went away and I watched a few tutorial vids and saw what I was doing wrong. And I was effectively doing one thing backwards because I wasn't paying any attention to it. Now you notice with this one, actually, I'll zoom in a little bit and I'll talk through it. So I've got the landing gear set up in such a way that it's automatically got this thing tilted. So it effectively wants to lift itself up just by design, you know.
Right.
Even without using the little control flaps on the top there, this thing just wants to pitch up. That's just part of it. So I'll get down onto a horizon view. I'm going to throttle up, kick these engines in, and I'll just leave it. I'll just hands off the stick. And oh, you son of a... Okay, let's restart that really quickly. Okay, yeah, I forgot to turn the stability control on, so hang on. So let me that'll catch up with you in a second, Alien. Don't worry. Just tell me when. You'll see it go wrong. You'll see what happened. Pain. Yes, more drink.
Is your resolution set right? Because there's a big black strip on the right side of the screen.
Yeah, unfortunately, what if I can move KSP? Boom, there. There we go.
It just crashed.
It just goes whee, just wobbles out of the
Plane,
way.
I mean, not the game.
Yeah. Yeah. So unfortunately, the way the game renders it, if I stretch it, the aspect ratio will go out and everything. So that's why I just pop myself to the corner there. Hey, so we got two Kerbals now. We've got one in the bottom left and one in the bottom right. Let's see that. There we go. So all right, I'll leave the stability control on. Right, let's
Still haven't watched Toy Story to see what they say.
We'll have to do that. Right, stability control. There we go. Look, without controlling, because of the shape of this design, I can just press G, bring the gears up. Now I don't have to control this. Hands are completely off the stick, and it's just taking itself off by design. Excellent. Woo! And it's also very twitchy on the controls, I must say. Once you do start playing with it a little bit, you kind of have to keep the nose tilted up slightly to keep it going, otherwise it will go down. But this is a tiny little little ship. Obviously, it's only got one fuel tank. You can't really do much with this space plane. With the fuel it's got, I'm not even sure whether it would actually get all the way to orbit. I don't think it's got enough oomph in it, to be fair. But I think I could probably extend this design to have 2 fuel tanks in, and I think it would be, it would be a reasonable little space plane then. We could probably do some interesting stuff. You can see it's still a little unstable. I'm not sure exactly. I think, yeah, let's take the stability control off. And unfortunately, with the stability control on, when you're in active flight, it kind of fights against the aerodynamics of the plane, and you get this kind of juddering where it's, it just doesn't seem to work right. But once you actually get up to speed with anything which is aerodynamic, it kind of naturally wants to go back to this center and, kind of even itself out, level itself out. So you don't need the stability control when you're in active flight. But it's really handy for takeoff and landing. Obviously, it keeps you at that nice steady level on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try. I say try. I'm going to try and get over to this little island because there's a little hidden place over here. Now, I don't know whether you can see. No, my. There we go. I'll put myself at the top left. Maybe that'll be a little bit better. So you can probably see in the bottom left now. The fuel that I have burnt so far is actually very, very minimal, and this is one of the really cool things about having space planes, because you kind of think, what is the point of having a space plane? You've got a frigging great rocket on there, you've managed to do all this other stuff, and then suddenly you want planes. What's the point? Well, this is kind of the point. You can do lots of small runs, you can get into orbit and various other things like that, and it uses very, very little fuel. They're really, really efficient for that sort of thing. So, and here's the test site, but I think I've completely overshot the runway, so I'm going to have to make another pass at this, actually. That was really bad. I'll leave my gear down, because that's going to slow me down. Oh, ooh, not going to bring my gear up a second. Okay, yeah. I was meant to do that. That's 100 meters off the ground with this this craft is not a plan I would recommend to anyone.
Is that a landing strip?
Yeah, what it is, when the very, very early versions of Kerbal came out, there was a different design to the original Space Center, and that's like the models from the original. They kind of kept it in as an Easter egg, and there's a couple of sites around the planet actually where there's a couple of little Easter eggs to the original game and stuff. And if I actually manage to land this damn thing here, which I'm doubting I'm going to be able to do at the moment because I'm stuffing this up royally. If I actually get there, you can see a couple of the original 3D models used for the very first parts that are in the game, which is quite funny. There's some nice little Easter eggs like that in the game, I must admit. They've hidden some fun little things. Apparently there is a little pyramid and everything, which I've not managed to find myself yet, but I've seen someone on YouTube demo it. I am coming in for a rough landing here. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I've run out of runway again. Damn. Okay, we've got plenty of fuel. I mean, I've made 2 failed attempts and we've barely dipped into about, I don't know, not even an eighth of our fuel tank at the moment. So I think what I might do is I'll keep myself perpendicular to the 90 degree. There we go. Let's just get this up into the atmosphere and flip over. This isn't the best design in the world, but hey, it works for me. Let's flip ourselves over. Might as well do a loop-the-loop whilst we're up here. You're probably noticing that last little bit there, it's like this plane's kind of doing this wobbly action there because the aerodynamics are really kind of kicking it back into that thing. It wants to go back to level. Now that I've understood exactly how that works and how the aerodynamics works in this game, which are they're quite interesting. They're not exactly realistic. They're close to realistic. They're kind of simplified for so that your home computer can do the simulation. But yeah, they once you get used to the way they work, you can kind of figure out the quirks and set yourself up to have an aircraft which you can actually fly and land properly. So I'm going to have one more go on this. I'm going to get a bit lower first. I'm going to sweep in lower, hover my fingers over the brake and hope to God I can actually do something. Landing a space plane in this game is probably one of the most difficult things you can do, but it's also the most rewarding challenge, I must say. So you've got to try and keep yourself at a steady velocity, and then you've got to get below about 100 meters per second when you get close to landing, otherwise you will just hit the deck hard. Now, different parts and all, like the wheels I've got at the moment, they can take a pretty rough landing, but you obviously get bigger, more stronger parts later on, so that's one of the things where work too. Okay, where's my shadow? Oh, 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 whoa! Okay, okay. Oh, no, 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 no! No! So close! So close! Damn, damn. Okay, we got close, but that was much better attempt than the previous game, I must admit. On that last episode, we were really stuffing that up. But, there we go. So what I'll do actually is I will extend our aircraft design slightly. So what I'll do first actually is I'll show you show you what I've learned. Now, there, let me set that up on there. So what we've got on here, so when you're building the ships on there, you get these little markers up on there that tell you a little bit about exactly how the ship's going to perform. So you've got the little yellow and black marker is your centre of mass, and the blue and black marker is your centre of lift. Now what I've found out is that should actually be slightly behind your centre of mass. I just crashed, haven't I, on your version of the stream?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I nearly got there.
And Commander Telumeta is saying, for landing a plane, you control the descent angle with the throttle and the airspeed with the elevators. I think you know that.
Yeah, I just wasn't demonstrating it particularly well.
No.
It's doing a really bad job. But hey, the stream's called Crash Landing, you know.
Yeah, it's not called Kerrash for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go. So the one thing I'm going to do is I noticed on that last test flight is my the engine on the back hit the ground before the wheels did. So yeah, I need to just drop those wheels down a little bit so there's a bit more.
Isn't that how pilots land jumbo jets? The back wheels touch down before the front wheel?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. But the engine touched down before the back wheels. So.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not how they do it. So I'm just going to try and extend this slightly. Let's try and get the centre of mass there. Oops. Come on. Oh, I think it's this wheel's conflicting. No, what's wrong with you? Snap, damn you. Okay, it's the little canards on the front here. Let's delete you. There we go. Snap. There we go. Let's put that in place. Right, so now my centre of lift is way back from my centre of mass. This is going to change the way this thing flies, but okay. Where's my little... No, that's not what I want. My winglets. My little winglets. I can't find them. Oh, I'll leave them off. It doesn't matter. Let's call this the Fragor 2. Save that and give it a go. So theoretically, now I've put two pieces of fuselage in there. They're completely packed out with fuel. That should give me enough to get into an orbital flight. So rather than try and land on that thing, I might just try and get into an orbit. Yep, it's rolling straight. Just turn the throttle up. And close my eyes, because I don't want to see this. Come on. You can actually see the wheels have got a certain degree of suspension, and it might not come across well in the... Oh, you son of a... in the stream. But... yeah, they've got a little bit of suspension. When they actually start to lift off, you can see them start to pick up, which is really cool. I like the way that works.
Patient says he's been trying Microsoft Flight Sim to get used to the X52 Pro until beta comes out.
Yeah, that's a good one actually. I played that quite a bit myself. Really, whoops, don't want that.
I looked at downloading a Flight Sim and I can't remember if it was Microsoft Flight Sim or if it was something like X-Plane or something, and it was 60 gigabytes.
Oh, yeah, some of them are like insanely large. It's crazy.
Yeah, I thought Star Wars The Old Republic was huge at 25.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing. It's like, look at these things. They've got all this like realistic landscape data and all that stuff, and it's like, it's like it's still not much better than just like Google Earth. It's just like it's just give us Google Earth. You use that data set.
Yeah.
Come on, come on, take off.
What have you looked up in Google Earth? What's the most interesting thing you've looked up in Google Earth?
I think I found there was like a little research facility. Whoa, that only just took off. A little research facility, like somewhere near North Korea or something like that, which looked like a mini version of a town somewhere else. You know what I mean? It was like a test facility. It was really freaky. I found it on like these like top 10 interesting places to look at on Google Earth. It was really scary actually when you look at it. You think they've made like this miniature version of a town to test what on exactly? What the heck are they doing? Scary stuff.
I looked up the house from the Amityville Horror.
Oh, crikey.
And they used to have a 3D model of it on Google Earth.
Really?
And then they took the 3D model off.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. No. Oh, it seems quite stable. Really struggled to take this to start off, but once I got off the runway, it was okay.
Yeah.
You might have seen me go on the grass a little bit there.
Yeah, I thought you were going to crash when you hit the ground.
It's got this annoying thing that sometimes the way the game works is it kind of does this thing where it tries to help you in some situation where the wheels tend to kind of stick to the ground slightly, so they give you that kind of like when you're landing, it kind of like almost like suction. But then when you're trying to take off, it's a bit of a pain if you don't have the aerodynamics quite set up right. Nothing's going to lift that nose off, and I think a lot of the problem there is I took those canards off the front, those little mini wings, which were at the front of the nose cone area of it. That was actually giving me a bit of lift on the front end, which was helping to get that front part up. And I should put that back on, I think, actually. Right, so we're actually getting some good altitude here, up to about 12.5 kilometers. 650 meters per second. It's going quite well. The only issue I've just realized is I'm not going to be able to achieve an orbital flight on this because I've only got air-breathing engines. And
When you run out of air, the engines will stop.
yeah, they might turn around and just say, nope, not happening. So whilst that design is...
If you did reach an orbit, you would be able to get back down again.
It's like you've got nothing to thrust. So we're going to have to extend this slightly and put a couple of little rocket boosters in to give us that little kick when we get up to that altitude. So I think we're going to have to do that. One thing I'll do.
If you built a vomit comet,
yeah,
would your Kerbal throw up?
Oh, I'm going to have to find out.
You know what the vomit comet is, don't you?
Yeah, the old test plane they do. I love that.
The parabolic curve plane.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I have to see what happens to him. Right, so I think if we put in a couple of small fuel tanks, we don't need much, just enough to give us a bit of a kick. Yeah, let's put those ones there. I'm surprised that actually let me. It's normally it's a bit finicky about letting you place things like that. But there we go. So we put those in there. Put a couple of the the LV909 rockets are pretty good. They're quite compact, quite light for what they are. I'm gonna have to move these wheels out of the way, I think.
Going from a comment from Ken Payton in the chat, where he's talking about the flight sim game he bought. He says, can see that it would benefit from the Rift as well as hard to see when you have landed in 2D, which prompts a question from me. How hard is it to retrofit, for want of a better term, the Rift to games that would benefit from the Rift but weren't designed for the Rift, if you understand what I mean by that?
Yeah, no, I get it. It's not as bad as what you might think. You do really have to get in there and tweak the code. There's no there's no way you can really just accurately take any game and just plop Rift support in. Now, some people have done some really good hacks to allow that to happen. There's an open source group working on something at the moment. I can't for the life of me remember what it was called. Perception, a driver called Perception, which kind of hacks support into some games. But there's two key things you need to do. You need to capture the USB input, which is doing the head tracking, and translate it into some kind of in-game movement. And most 3D games support mouse movement, so that's what a lot of these things do. They support the mouse. They turn your head tracking into X, Y on your mouse and all that. And the second thing you need to do is obviously you need to render that weird-looking 2-eye view. And this day and age, that's not actually as hard as you might think, because they tend to use a pixel shader thing. So if you can get in there and you can mess around with the way the cameras are set up and throw a pixel shader in, that tends to be all you really need to do, and you've pretty much hacked in support. That kind of works in most situations, but you run into little niggly things which don't seem important to begin with. But like the latency, the speed at which the game is refreshing, the way the camera moves around and kind of does that, affects your natural motion of your head and stuff like that. Silly little things like that that seem insignificant to most games, and like head bobbing when you're moving around with your gun in a lot of first-person shooters, you've got that head bobbing effect going on. Things like that are absolutely nausea-inducing on the Rift, and you need to take them out. It will make you puke, honestly, that sort of thing. And so silly little things like that, it means changing the game pretty much in the way it was originally designed. So that takes more effort itself than just adding in the camera support and the head tracking controls. You know what I mean? That's the... Whoops. Yeah, that design didn't work. I've obviously screwed something up there. Whoopsie. Yeah, so it's the thing. Carry on.
I was going to say, do you think there'll come a day when you'll be able to look up a mod or a hack for whichever game it is you want to play that wasn't designed to work with the Rift, but someone out there's worked on making the Rift work with the game, and you can just look it up on a website somewhere and download it?
Yeah. Like I said, there's these guys working on this Perception driver. They have actually got a list of games at the moment which they've put a load of support in, and they've done a pretty good job of adding in support for a lot of games. I've managed to get quite a few of the games that I like to play working in it. Which ones have I played at the moment? They support things like Borderlands, Skyrim. There's a huge list on their website what they're doing. And there's a couple of like commercial outfits working on drivers for this sort of thing. So at the moment it is touch and go. Some things do support it, some things don't. But yeah, absolutely, in the future you're just going to be able to kind of get some... I could see something like a GOG, like goodoldgames.com, popping up where people are kind of retrofitting in support for old games. I know, for example, you can actually play Quake 1 with the Rift on now. Someone's hacked in support for it, but that's mainly because John Carmack made the source code available for Quake 1 anyway, so people have kind of gone in and tweaked the engine and done a good job of it. So yeah, you can actually go back and get quite a list of games at the moment that didn't originally have support, but now they do.
Ken Payton asks, did you see that Oculus put out a new dev diary yesterday?
Yes, I did, but my mind's gone blank as to what exactly was on it. What did they... I think they were talking about their feedback from CES. I think they won a bunch of awards in there, and well deserved as well. Everything they've done over this last year, they've really done a lot for the calls for VR and everything. So yeah, fair play to them. They deserve every bit of recognition they get. I think they talked a little bit about the Crystal Cove prototype they've been working on, the positional tracking and everything. And the key thing about that prototype actually is the low persistence screen they've got in there now.
Right.
And I've talked to a couple of people about it, and for me it's the most significant thing. but I agree with them. It's like one of the things they said in the article is the problem is people don't see it as a significant change, and it's hard to get the point across about why it's such a good thing to have this low persistence image in there. Um, okay, I'm struggling to get that. I really need those. I'm gonna... Whoa! Sorry, Jeb. No, he crashed. Woohoo! This low persistence screen, what it does is your typical LCD screen is for every frame of animation, it keeps the it keeps the image on there until the new image comes along, and it just writes the pixels over top of the other pixels, so that those pixels are permanently lit up with one color or another. That works fine for a screen, but the problem is with like a virtual reality sort of system, your eyes aren't used to that sort of thing, so having that kind of image work in that way, it kind of messes with your vision, and it doesn't work as well as what you'd hope it does. So what they've done in this new one is they've got this OLED screen, so it's new technology. It's higher resolution. It's much faster time to switch on and off. And what they do is they make it brighter, but they only turn it on for a fraction of a second, like a millisecond or something really low like that. So your eyes naturally do this thing where if they see an image like that, they will kind of restore. They will kind of keep it. It's almost like when you get a bright flash and that kind of the haze takes a while for it to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sort of like headlights. You see like headlights. You get those streaks in your eyes. That sort of that look. This is really not going well for poor little Jebediah at the moment. But yeah, so they kind of flash on that image, and then the pixels just turn off. They go completely dark, and until they get a new frame of animation in, then they flash on again with that new frame of animation. And what that means is your brain kind of automatically compensates for that those missing few moments when there's no image on the screen, and naturally does what your eye does in real life. So it actually makes the image more stable. You don't see the motion blur. You don't see so much in terms of like juddery sort of motion and stuff like that. That is the most significant change in this model over the positional head tracking. But everyone's raving on about the positional head tracking because of how cool it is. No one really realizes that the main benefit is this screen. So that's what I want to play with. That's what I'm interested in myself.
Right.
I need to get a bit of a tilt on this one. Too much, maybe? No, I think that'll work. The problem I got here at the moment, this is what's causing me an issue now, is these fuel tanks. As they start to drain, the center of mass is going to kick back further and further, which doesn't sound like a bad thing, but the issue with that is as the center of mass goes back to the point where it goes close to or beyond the center of lift, it's going to mean that this thing becomes more and more unstable, and it's going to be a nightmare to fly. So I need to try and get this right now, so that you kind of need to compensate for what's going to happen in the future. That's really, it's like you see this thing here at the moment, the center of mass is there, but I can right click on this, I can drop the fuel out of this tank, and you can see that center of mass is going to go back. I can drop the fuel out of here, and the center of mass is going to go back, and so on and so forth. So you start to get an idea of how tricky it is to plan for a bloody thing, because it's not only you planning for how the craft looks and operates now at launch, but on the way back as well. You need to kind of think about, it's going to be lighter, it's going to have no fuel in the middle.
Petrisk says Oculus Rift devs should replace Eve Valkyrie with Elite Dangerous.
Yes.
I've just typed into the chat, no! I want Elite, not Eve!
Well, I kind of see where he's coming from. I'd like to see them use that instead, so we get the news coverage. That would be nice. Oh, come on, take off, you useless craft. Oh, you son of a... So, I think I'm just going to go back to plain old rockets, and these space planes really get on my nerves.
Before you go back to the rockets, I want you to try something.
Okay, okay.
Put the big wing
Yeah.
at the front where you've got the cunards, and put the
Mhm.
cunards at the back where you have the big wing. Just something crazy to try.
Okay, cool. Let me save that. I'm gonna give this one more go because I think I just need to get the nose lifted up.
Mind you, having suggested that now, it would put all the weight at the front, wouldn't it? So your nose wouldn't lift.
Well, I think it would put all the lift at the front, but the weight would still be at the back, which the nose would lift up, but then it would be really really unstable. So. Whoa, whoa! Yeah, there just doesn't seem to be enough lift with all this weight. I think that's what the issue is. Is not necessarily that this is unstable. Is the wings I've got are just not big enough to give me the lift I need now. Because I've basically quadrupled the amount of fuel tanks I've got on here, so yeah, it's just. Let's put them there. Yeah, it's going to put all the lift at the front. Woohoo! I think this is going to crash and burn, but hey, no worse than what I've done so far. Come on then. Let's see what
I was
happens.
thinking when you said it would make it really unstable, and I was thinking, and?
Yeah, more than what we've already seen. Yeah. Whoa! Whoa!
Just
Whoa!
one of my stupid, crazy ideas
Well, I
that
got.
obviously isn't going to work.
Well, I got the nose up, and he survived. Oh dear. I have to make sure. Did I save that? I'll make sure I've saved that without the. Kind of works.
You got the nose up, yeah. It flipped over upside down, flew backwards, and crashed into the ground.
Hey, well, it worked. It
Oh,
worked
I can't
to a
talk for
degree.
laughing.
It kind of worked. Let's try these. So these have got a slightly better lift rating. It's bugging me. It's like I want to just throw my toys out the pram and walk away from it, but I've got to get this damn thing working.
Uh,
If this doesn't work, I will go back to making the rockets, and we'll try and get a little space habitat up in there. And now we've got these docking ports, we can start making something bigger, more interesting. Now, even with the fact that I haven't got the big solar panels, we can always just slap the smaller solar panels on, and then when we do get the bigger solar panels, I can take a little module up, which provides nothing but power, which would be interesting. Stop wandering off the runway, you unstable piece of. Oh! 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 Wunderbar! He exclaimed with great relish. My word, that actually kind of works. Yeah, it was literally just because I didn't have enough total lift altogether. So those little wingtip things on the front gave me enough lift overall. Excellent. And this one does seem a bit more stable than the previous design because I've moved the lift to the back. Excellent. We might actually do it. By Jove, I think we've got it.
yes, but why do you veer to the left?
I honestly, I don't know what's going on with that. It's like I am not pressing anything on the control. The stability's on. It should just be going in a straight damn line, but it just kind of goes, nope, I'm going this way. Really doesn't doesn't want to stay upright. It just keeps not necessarily nosediving, but it just doesn't want to stay in the position I'm telling it to stay in. Come on, don't go down, go up. Go up. You're an aircraft. You're supposed to fly.
It's Jebediah. He's pushing the stick forward to go down.
He's just having way too much fun. I think he's laughing at me. He's taunting me. So we're going to get to a point where our intake area at the moment is point 0.1. Oh no! No, 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 no. Come on, come back, come back. Nearly lost control then. I'm going to have to unplug this. Where is it? Where is it? There we go. Right. So the problem is I had the X52 flight stick plugged in from playing Elite, and I have had the Kerbal set up to use that stick, which is all well and good. But when the keyboard starts fighting for control, not good. Right. So I'm up 13 kilometers. I'm falling. Damn you.
I had a similar thing with the with my joystick when I was playing X3 Terran Conflict. I'm like pushing tab on the keyboard for the maximum speed, and then it's bringing the speed back down to 0 and -10, and I'm like,
yeah, it just keeps like that. So the
and I thought, oh, the joystick must be because the joystick's plugged in and it's reading the throttle on the joystick. So I just unplugged the joystick.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a bit of a pain. I thought I didn't realize what was doing it at first, and then I kind of twigged, and I was like, oh right, yeah, they're fighting for control. Come on, get up into orbit, you son of a.
I have to say, I'm quite happy with this Cytec Mad Cats that I've got.
Oh, cool. What sort of things have you been playing with it, actually?
Just the X3 Terran Conflict. It's the only game I've got that's suitable for a joystick.
Oh, right, okay.
But the other ones I've had in the past, I think, if my memory serves me right, are Logitech.
Oh, right, okay.
And they have the thing where it's registering off-center.
Mm-hmm.
So you let go of the joystick and you see your craft spinning.
Oh, right, okay, so it doesn't have that. That's a shame.
Yeah, it really annoyed me that and put me off joysticks for a long time.
Yeah, it's a shame that didn't... There we go. Oh, we got a 31-kilometer apoapsis, barely enough to do anything with. I hate space planes. I am giving up on space planes.
Tetris says you need to buy that USB hub switch thing that has the turn-offable USB.
Yeah,
ports.
definitely. That's a good suggestion. Actually, I will be getting one of those. I think I just got cables everywhere. I've just got this massive gadgets and things that I use. And right, so let's work on that. What can we put up as a little habitat? I think we're going to need to base it around that little... so we've got one of these now. We've got a storage container. That is quite a chunky storage container. That's going to take some getting into space there, I think.
I don't suppose you can build biodomes, can you? Like, as in Silent Running?
Not so much, no. There's quite a few good mods out there which support a lot of features like that, but no, not anything really, really complicated. Let's try and do this. Let's put a couple of these on, so we can see it. We just have to keep reconfiguring it. I think we'll put up this initial module, and then we'll have to keep pushing in, pulling in, yoinking different things around until we get something we like.
And that Kerbal's still walking under there. It's still walking under the thing. Health and safety.
They absolute disregard for their own safety. These Kerbals just don't seem to care. Damn them.
Oh, at least that one's got a helmet on.
Right, copy, paste, copy, paste. Right, so let's... how can we do this? I'm trying to think. We're going to need plenty of battery packs on here because although we got what have we got on here? 20 solar panels. That's all well and good for the time being, and that will work quite well whilst it's up there. But that's only going to work for about 50% of the time when it's outside of the shadow of the planet. As soon as it goes behind the shadow of the planet, it's going to be essentially unpowered, and we're not going to be able to do anything useful with it. So we're going to have to take that into account. I'm trying to think where we're going to put a docking port on here. I think might want to put a radial one on here, I think. I don't know. We'll come to that in a second. So what are we going to put on here? We've got a science module. See, I would like to put one of these. I've actually unlocked the mobile processing lab. But it is huge, and I don't think I've got a rocket capable of moving this damn thing. It's twice the size of our habitat module.
Right.
So
I've
that's...
just noticed all the vehicles driving past outside. You've got a blooming highway out there.
Yeah, I know.
Is it the M25?
They seem to be happily wandering about, going about their business, don't they? Jesus, so much. So let's put a couple of these on. I've got to try and keep it symmetrical as best I can as well, otherwise it'll be off center when I launch it. Right, so let's put the little let's put them this way. Hopefully we can do it. So we'll have a couple of little science modules. So what I found actually is these little science canisters you can put on to get the experiments and whatnot. They're a one-shot deal. You can only use them once. But the benefit of having the the mobile processing lab, this new module that's been added in, the benefit of that is it can reset the experiments, which is really cool because it allows you to reuse and get more science points out of these things. And you can't always do it because obviously you're in the same position, so you're not going to continuously get lots and lots of kind of diminishing returns to it. But it does allow you to reuse them, so it's handy. We're going to have to think of a name for this space station, aren't we?
Wreckage?
It will be shortly.
Well, you keep asking me for a name, and I keep saying, well, I suggested Wreckage in your thread, and you keep going, oh,
Okay.
I've already named it now.
Yeah, let's okay then. Let's write.
Talking
Wreckage.
of your thread, have you picked a name yet?
No, I think it runs up until 2nd of February, I think, for the poll, doesn't it? But I don't think it's going to don't think it's going to change much now anyway. To be fair, is it? It's probably going to
I haven't looked, but if I remember rightly, Jammy Dodger is winning.
Yeah, we like that. We like Jammy Dodger. That's cool. So let's try that. There we go. Let's go. So I put a little remote control module on there, so if we don't send any Kerbals up in here, which we don't have to. Yep, there's no Kerbals in this little module. We can send it up completely unmanned, and hopefully that will allow us to get it there easier. See, this is... oh, yeah. That's not going to be any use to us. Huh. Just realised we've got RCS ports, so we've got the little thrusters to allow us to rotate and everything. But we've got no RCS tanks. So that's really not going to help us at the moment. Inline advanced... what is the difference between these two things? Other than a couple of kilograms. Yep, that one is the better one, and it's lighter, so let's use that one. There are some odd selection of parts you can put in on this game, and I don't know exactly why they were left in. I think I mean, it's still kind of effectively in an alpha stage, so they're kind of tweaking and changing things on there, but no, it is odd why some of these parts are in there. You don't need two parts that do the same thing, really. Okay, so we've got a docking port on the top, which is going to allow us to connect to things. Battery packs, some lights so we can see what we're doing? We got the little module.
I've just thought you want 2 docking ports.
Why is that?
Well, if you've got 1 docking port on it and you send up something else with 1 docking port on it and you connect the 2 together, you can't connect anything else to it.
Ah, but the next thing we send up will have multiple docking ports on. This is just the first piece. So this is the great thing about the docking ports. You can keep sending more stuff up. So I'm hoping the next one, there's actually have I got it? I don't think I've got it yet. But there's a structural element you can get, which is kind of like a cube almost. You can fit 6 docking ports on either side, so we can send that up as a structural element and allow us to attach multiple parts off in all directions. So.
Right.
Yeah, we can use this girder adapter and whatnot. So yeah, that's the next phase. That's getting ahead of ourselves. Although I don't think I'm going to be that lucky. Here we go. That is a huge, heavy decoupler. Here we go. Yeah, we're actually better off putting this useless adapter on, and then. Oh, this one's even lighter. Let's use this one. Excellent. Let's put that on there. Little adapter. It's going to make this thing a little bit of a top-heavy craft, but hey, it's got no crew in it, so if anything happens, meh. Right, so that's the module we need to get up, but we're going to need some pretty hefty rockets to do this, and we do have the bigger rockets now. So maybe we can get away with putting a couple of these giant tanks on. And where's our big engine? Poodle! The Rockomax Poodle! Does it have... Nope, it doesn't. Okay, cool, fine, fair enough. Right, we're going to have to go for the old asparagus method, I think, and set ourselves up with a couple of modules that we can detach. If in doubt, add more boosters. Always the best plan. Okay, let's put those on there. Let's do one on top. Sells a couple of the... We need the ones with the additional thrust, I think we're going to need to. Rightio. It's amazing how these building rockets in this game is simpler than space planes. You think making a plane would be really easy, but no. It continues to deceive me. Okay, right, so let's get these ones feeding fuel into the center. Tanks, and then we can peel those off. Fire all these engines at the same time, I think. Get rid of those, detach those. You know, I've just realised I've done all this, but I'm going to need a stage up the top here in order to manoeuvre this into an orbit position, I think. I still don't know how heavy this thing is. There is a couple of mods you can get which allow you to calculate all that stuff, and I think it'd be worth doing at some point. Definitely. Definitely worth doing, because you can see the key thing on any design like this is the thrust to weight ratio. I have no idea what my thrust to weight ratio is on this. I haven't got the foggiest. I'm just kind of hoping and praying it will be good enough. But yeah, if you don't have that calculated properly, you really struggle to figure out whether you're actually going to be able to make it, and it is just trial and error. But hey, trial and error is more fun to watch, isn't it? Okie dokie, so there's our main setup. I am paranoid about this, so I'm going to put a couple of extra struts on here just for support, and I think that should just about do us. We've got the engine there, all of our engines. These need to be a separate phase, and here, and then we got that stage there, that stage there, and the final stage. So hopefully we get ourselves into a position where we can start to orbit it correctly. I have no idea whether this is going to work, but there's only one way to find out. Fight!
Someone new in the chat, XI Duffman, says hello.
Greetings!
And he asks if you're any good. Presumably, are you any good at Kerbal Space Program?
No! I'm good at crashing. Hence the name. I'm much better offline than I am on air. I will say that. Everything seems to go wrong when I'm on air. But I build all these crazy contraptions, test them offline, they all work wonderfully, and as soon as I try and demonstrate them, it all goes horribly wrong. But there we go. It's more fun to watch me just crash and burn. We should have put boosters on here. We can never have enough boosters.
See that Christmas tree design? I still think that hasn't got enough rockets on it.
I can see if I can fill out more in between the gaps rather than making it like 8-sided. I just see if I can just like squeeze more and more and more around there. Yeah, this poodle engine is just useless. Yeah, we're barely getting enough thrust out of this. Wondering if I can fit more engines on there. More engines. So that top section is really, really heavy actually. What have we got in terms of structural elements we can put on there? Now we could try that. That might work. Let's chuck that on there. Give ourselves more engines. Really should calculate my thrust to weight ratio. My thrust to weight ratio is somewhere slightly over 1. Give or take. Right, so them ones there. These solid boosters are probably going to burn out the quickest. So that's my 3 central rockets there. One's there. This central fuel tank is being burnt up quicker than I expected, but I think that's because that poodle engine is like really, really massively inefficient, I must admit. So. Okay, let's give this a go. Wreckage, an appropriate name for the ship. If only I could play this with the rift on, it would be really cool. Be like having a toy rocket in front of you could look at. Or better still, the in-cockpit views look awesome, I must admit. That's better. More power! Maximum power! Whoops. Might need to put another stabilization module somewhere in the middle here, just for the initial takeoff, something to give it a bit of control. Oh, we've got one at the top. That should be able to control the movement. Doesn't seem to be man enough for the job, though. Never mind. Come on. And there we go. Get rid of those. They've all got such interesting noises. So of course there's a bunch of mods you can get which change a lot of things. I think there's one which has more realistic rocket sounds and things like that. I'm going to have to try a few mods at some point. That's better. Sorry, I thought my fuel was running out to 0, but obviously it was misreporting it because of the extra engines we had on there. There we go. Well, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. We're getting into the right trajectory here. What's our apoapsis look like? 33 kilometers in climbing. That's pretty good. Let's get in there. Getting our surface velocity up as well, 600 meters per second, that's pretty good. About 2/3 of the fuel left, so I'm hoping this works well. 800 meters per second. Oh, kilometer a second orbital velocity. That's pretty cool. Could probably start to burn off my apoapsis in a minute. What have we got in orbit at the moment? Oh, Veggie Station. I forgot we had the station. Where's that? That's 111 kilometers up. So let's try and get to the same apoapsis actually. Maybe we can meet up with it.
Well, you didn't put any docking ports on it. So
I
you won't be able
didn't.
to
No,
work with
no,
it.
I didn't. But at least I can rescue the Kerbals I left on there.
If they're still alive.
Yeah, yeah. That's I feel really bad for me. That is the one good thing at the moment. They don't simulate food or oxygen or anything like that. But if they did, I would feel so awful.
Is there a mod you can get that simulates the food and that?
Yes. But I haven't dared install it because I would feel very awful very quickly. When you get all these messages coming out, Randy Kerman has died from starvation. I would feel absolutely awful. So, right.
What you're gonna have to do is put a Kerbal in a module and have him orbit the sun.
Oh yeah.
Beat
Absolutely.
Poland to it.
Yeah, that would be funny actually. Right, we are actually in orbit and we've got plenty of fuel left. Massively overestimated my thrust to weight ratio there on that one because my bottom stage is still here all the way in orbit. So never mind. Plenty of fuel. It's better to have more fuel than not enough.
Yes.
Oh, and shoot! I completely missed the burn vector. But there we go. Point of apoapsis. Damn it! Oh, we've got some questions coming in there. Weaverish, do I have a space station set up? No, we're about to do one now. Hopefully. I don't completely screw this up. Right, so we're on a really crappy elliptical orbit, but I want to... see, I might leave that where it is for a second. I might switch over to this and see where we got to with this other station, because I can't remember what we were doing on it. I know we had two parts to it, didn't we? And there was the space station itself, and then there was the initial rocket that I took up with some supplies on, but they weren't docked in any way, so they were just free floating past each other. This looks like... Oh, I did get the lab up, didn't I? Yep, that was right. I got one of the labs up, but it had no docking ports on it. Now I remember. And we got a bit of fuel on there. Okie dokie. Okay, that's the one part then, and the Veggie 4 rocket was the other one I got to, wasn't it? Let's have a quick look at that. Okay, I think this was the rocket that I just left floating nearby, wasn't it? That's too dark to see. Yes, yeah, just had the little modules on, a bit of fuel. So I think, in fairness, there's actually nothing left, nothing useful I can do with these things, is there really? No? No, didn't even have a parachute on that. That is just space debris now. Whoops. Never mind. So I think what I'll do is I'll circularize the orbit of our space station. So if I get it to an altitude above 240 kilometers, then I can actually speed up time a lot quicker on it, and then that way we can hopefully do more science on it. So let's add a maneuver here. I'm going to straighten this orbit out a little bit. I want to straighten this orbit out a heck of a lot. I went up on a bit of a skew-if angle, but we got plenty of fuel left, so that's no problem. Oh, shoot. There's a fine line between selecting a node and deleting a node. Oh, sorry, let's rotate this around. Rotate, rotate, you bastard. Let's go apolapse this out to about 350. Now I forget exactly, there is a certain height you can get where you effectively end up in a Kerbal stationary orbit, which is really handy because obviously it stays within visibility, or, it stays in the same location all the time, which is really, really cool. Where is that target vector? Come on, where are you? There it is. There we go, right. Get ourselves set up, so we only have to make something like a 15-second burn, which is quite good. We've got 10 minutes to do it in, so 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right. T-minus 17 seconds. Okie dokie. Ignition in 3, 2, 1. Come on, now the 7-second burn. Get that down. 10 meters per second. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Close enough. There we go. That was pretty good. There we go. So that gets us up to an apoapsis at 352. That's really high. Much higher than anything I've done before. So that's an improvement. Whoops, whoops. Oh, it's really finicky trying to get these maneuver nodes working right now, because as soon as you circularize, you notice that the highest point and the lowest point snap around, and that's the sweet spot. That's when you're in a really good place then. Alright, so let's see if we can find that second maneuver node. And I've still got this other stage on, actually, so it might be worthwhile. I'll leave that stage on with some fuel, and then whatever we dock with in the future, we're going to have got a bit of spare fuel on board. So, excellent. That's one of the things I can show you, actually, is if what I can do here is I can right click on the top stage. Oops. That's not a good thing. I just accidentally... Yep. I don't believe I just did that. Damn it. Let's see if I can... Ah, damn, I accidentally fired my engines up. Just screwed up my orbit. Okay, let's try that again, right. Okay, add a maneuver. Straighten it. Yeah, you can right click on each section of like a fuel tank or whatever, and you can actually swap fuel in and out of the fuel tanks, which is really, really handy, as long as the two parts you're doing it on are attached physically one way or another. You can just swap fuel in and out, which is really, really handy later on. So when we get to like more advanced missions later on, I could effectively use, if I put big enough empty tanks up on this space station, I could kind of use it as a hop point for an interplanetary mission, which would be really cool. I could take a ship up that would otherwise not be able to get out of orbit because it would be too heavy, with just enough fuel to get to the actual space station, rendezvous with it, and then once there, it could refuel and then move on to the next target, whatever planet we're going to. So that's something cool we can try later on. Come on. 16-second burn for this one. That's pretty cool. Right. 10 seconds. 8, 7. So the reason why we've got such short burn on here is because we've got these ridiculously powerful heavy engines, and these are should have been for the lift stage, but we had so much fuel left over. No point throwing them away.
I hate to say it, Kerrash, but I'm going to have to say good night to you.
Yeah, no problem. No, well, thank you very much for joining in tonight. It was great to have you here. So I
I'm
appreciate
falling
that.
asleep here almost.
No
Sorry.
worries. No
You're not
problem at all.
boring. It's just I'm tired.
Very tired. No, that's no problem at all. No, thank you very much for joining. I'm gonna keep going as long as I can tonight anyway to make up for not being here yesterday anyway. So that's no problem. But yeah, thank you very much. I'll see you again shortly. Again, thank you.
Thank you for streaming,
No
and
problem.
thank you for letting me join in.
Yeah, no problem. See you again soon. Take care. Okie dokie. Yep, I've it muted. There we go. Cool. Just tweak that maneuver node. There we go. So we got 1,017, 1,004. That's pretty straight. 1,005, 1,018. Now let's bring in just this. Oh, so close, so close. 1,015, 1,008. That's about as close as we're going to get. That's a pretty good maneuver. Plenty of fuel to do it with as well. Right. Oops, I better find the maneuver first before I speed up time. The time acceleration and wandering off. There we go. Here we go. Come on. So this is going to be a really high orbit for a space station, but no, it's going to be interesting nonetheless. I've never put a space station this high in orbit. It's going to be a real pain to get the extra modules up here, but it's going to be interesting because it's going to be in a higher position, and we're going to be able to speed up time more once we're on it. So hopefully it'll allow us to do more science once we get the extra modules attached to it. Okie dokie. Oh! Good evening, Ken Payton. Thanks for coming along. Right. Dum da dum da dum da da. Come on, come on. Speed. Thank God we can speed up time. Right, 6-second burn. Coming up close to it now. And 3, 2, 1, burn! Burn! There we go. Right, where did we get to? 107 on that side. Or 1,015 on that side. That's not bad. That's a pretty good circular orbit. There we go. This is our first module, and we've still got a bit of fuel left in here. Quite pleased with that. A little bit of fuel there. We got our maneuver stage there. We can keep that up. Somehow we are getting a crew report from an empty cabin. That is odd. Yeah, we definitely don't have any Kerbals on here. Very weird. Never mind. Never mind. So, alright. Might as well detach this stage. See if we can turn the lights on now. Ah, excellent. Beauty. Might as well leave that debris floating there. Now, of course, I haven't taken the the nice environmentally friendly approach and set that up in a suborbital flight so that it would come crashing down. Because quite frankly, meh, it's a game. So I'm going to, yep, I'm going to like leave that where it is for now. Quite happy with this. We're going to have to set up ourselves another rendezvous with the next module. Excellent. Okay, so something with crew on board. So we've got a little module where we can fit 4 of them there. And we can take one up here. Let's load up one of our previously built ones. This thing should be more than powerful enough to get up on here. So we got... yeah, we don't need 2 crew capsules on there. All we really need... well, we just need 1 crew on board, I suppose, to run the space station. We don't need the lander module. Which one of these is going to be an appropriate one? You know, I could probably completely get rid of half of this stuff. We don't need any of this stuff. Okay, let's keep the thrusters on board so we can line up. Get rid of these. We don't need that. We don't need the antenna. We don't need the landing gear. All of this can come off. We just have the module for getting the little dude there. I think that's going to be all we need. Can we... oh yes, we can fit that on there. Maybe then. Let's move this around. I don't know how stable this is going to be with a docking port directly underneath it, but we might be able to attach that. Nah, it's trivial anyway. As long as we've got to do